When opportunities seem limited at the moment and the world is full of noise and advice, sometimes it's very difficult to think straight and decide which direction to go in. So if I could just perhaps add to that advice just a little bit and just get you to think about, if you are looking for new job opportunities, please don't just rely on your CV. Please think differently. As I say in all my videos, we're all a limited company. We sell our knowledge, our skills, our experience, our words of wisdom and great bundles of enthusiasm, and in return we get a pay. Like organisations, we need different routes to market, and I'd like you to start thinking about yourself as a business consultant, and you are in the process of promoting and selling you. So you need to be really good at knowing what you're all about, but also have different ways of getting yourself out to market. So depending on your industry and depending on the types of companies you're looking for, I'd like you to think about the following tips and just work out which ones are going to best suited for you. So let's crack on with these different tips, and the first one is going to be about your CV. So have a really good CV. Make sure it is personalised for the industry you're looking at. So get some feedback from people in those industries and those companies. What sort of CV? Now, if you're going for a media job, your CV is going to look a lot differently if you're going for perhaps a job in finance. Don't just talk to people on your CV about what you've done in the past. Think about the value that you can bring in the future. And I think this is really important. Quite often we just talk about our experiences and knowledge and who we've worked for and who we've met in the past. That's great. But is that what companies are going to need for the future? Those times are constantly changing very quickly. So make sure also that when you are presenting your CV to organisations, you make it specific to them. You don't just sort of one size fits all and just throw a CV out and just churn them out to different ones. Personalise them. It'll make a difference. So make sure you do have a good CV, and also some organisations will look at the video CVs. So look into that and see if that would be suitable for your market. So that's the first thing, have a great CV. Next one is obviously your network of contacts. Now it's very important to have a good network of contacts, and if you are looking for opportunities, don't just suddenly contact everyone and offload all your difficult situation and perhaps you've been hard done by, because sometimes people think, oh gosh, they're just after a job. So that's really quite important. That's different if you know people well and you can have a good conversation with them and they're happy for you to have that conversation. But use your network wisely. Find out how they're seeing the world, how they see the industries, how they see their companies, and where would be a good place to turn. Ask for advice, that's fine. You can obviously let people know that you're available, but don't sort of go out there and bang them on the head, I need a job. The next thing is to think about recruitment consultants, and sometimes they can get a bit of a hard press, and the world isn't exactly easy for them at the moment. So I think that's very important to not just think about the way that you see it, think about their world and how can you build great relationships with them so you can help them to place you. We'd all love feedback. Why wouldn't get sort of put forward for a certain job role? But some recruitment consultants at the moment are sort of having hundreds if not thousands of people apply for just one position. It's virtually impossible for them to get back to everyone. But do build good relationships with your recruitment consultant and understand how it all works, how it works within your industry and that particular recruitment company, so you can work well together to help them to place you. Then start to think about any targeting companies that you would like to look at. Follow them on LinkedIn, and obviously follow them on their websites to make sure that you understand those types of companies, which ones are going to be good for the future, which ones perhaps are best to avoid, and start to understand their values and the way that they work. And you may not get a position with them straight away, but in the future you can then start to think about what type of companies. So don't just think about your job for now, think about the job for the future as well. So that's really quite important, that you're going to end up working with the right companies, because yes, want a job, but there again you get that job and after 6 months you think, oh, company really isn't right for me. It's not going to do you any good and it's not really going to do them any good. Perhaps new organisations and new industries. Perhaps to research, is the industries or the companies that you're currently working with, what are their future going to be like? And it may be that I think, well, they're going to have a bit of a tough future, so I may want to come out of that industry and look at more prosperous organisations and ones that are doing particularly well. And there again, these need researching, need to do your due diligence, need to have conversations with people. Exactly the same as a business consultant. Who do you want to do business with and who would you rather not do business with? There may be, as another tip, local organisations that you've always thought, yeah, actually, I'd like to know more about them. Go and research them. Go and find out more about what they do. Does that culture fit you? There again, it can help out with so many different reasons to work for local companies, depending where you are in your career and also depending where you are, obviously in your environments in terms of towns and cities that you work in, which ones would be best to contact, because that can give you a great work-life balance and also can help you to offer them more because there's less travel. That's if we go back to having lots of travel or perhaps, just working remotely. So do look at local companies. And sometimes they quite like it, where they feel that, their workforce has that sort of localism to it. Company referral schemes. Now this is quite an important tip. More and more big companies are doing referral schemes, where what they do, they point out to people who work there, we are looking for these positions, could you refer someone to the business? Some big major organisations do this, and it's worth finding out which ones that do, if they're in your target company list, and how you can start to build relationships with those people in those companies so you can find out if someone could sort of refer you. I think that's really quite important. LinkedIn jobs and LinkedIn job adverts. Now obviously there's going to be huge amounts of competition, but it is a good place to follow companies and it is a good place to actually apply for positions. So think about your LinkedIn profile, not just because you're going to look at jobs on LinkedIn, but it is an extension of your CV, as all your social media is. And think about, is your social media portraying you in the right light? If it's not, now's the time to do something about it. But going back to LinkedIn, it may be that you want to start sort of having a bit more of a presence on there. I'm not saying you're going to suddenly go and do YouTube videos like I'm doing and writing articles a couple of times a week, but do start to think about sharing, commenting, and writing your article to show that you are very much engaged in your industry and that you're a wealth of knowledge, as I said earlier, because that's what organisations want. That you're not just treating it as a job, you have a passion. And I think your LinkedIn profile can definitely demonstrate this, rather than you're just turning up to do a job. So being realistic at the moment is very important in terms for looking for new opportunities. Is full-time employment realistic, whilst certain organisations are going to have a bit of a freeze on headcount? Now there are obviously organisations that are doing very well, so perhaps full-time employment is better there. And also, depending on the age of yourself and myself in thinking about looking at future opportunities, it is important that perhaps sometimes that can go against us. I know it shouldn't, but it does. So I think it is quite important you perhaps look at interim roles, you look at project management roles, you look at freelancing and short contracts, because the CV doesn't seem to be such an issue there. You can get in through your network and other people sometimes without having to go through the whole process, because it is tough. Looking for a job is a full-time job, and finding positions. So sometimes if you can get your foot in the door by doing interim work, project work, consultancy work, freelance work, sometimes that can be to your advantage. And it is tough looking for opportunities, and sometimes it can really get us down. So keep at it. It is a full-time job, or it's certainly a part-time job. So it may be that you can take on other part-time opportunities, may not be what you're wanting to do, but at the same time you can keep on your search. And as I said earlier, even when you have got a position of your choice, never stop thinking about the future. Where do you want to go with this? What future companies are there out there in the future that you can see that could be very prosperous? This is something we should be reflecting on an ongoing basis. Obviously at the moment we need immediate responses and answers to finding employment, but I think we also need to look at it as a long-term activity as well. So I hope some of these tips can help you looking for that opportunity at the moment. And as I've been saying, over the last few weeks we've been doing more and more videos to help people looking for opportunities in difficult and tough times. So please let me know how you get on. If you want sort of 30 minutes of time to just discuss what you're looking for and how you're doing it, more than happy to help out with that. But please look at the other videos in this series to get you thinking about how you're promoting yourself, how you're maximising your skills, and how you're talking confidently about yourself. To summarise, just think about yourself as a business consultant, and you're out there to promote and sell you. So understand what you're about, what you can offer, and hopefully go and knock their socks off. Good luck with your search.